Montezuma II, also known as Montezuma Shokoyotsun, was the ninth emperor of the Aztec Empire, reigning from 1502 to 1520. Montezuma expanded the empire's territories and implemented various infrastructure projects, as an emperor does. However, his reign is most notably associated with the arrival of Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés in 1519, which was the first domino in a series of events which ultimately led to the downfall of the Aztec Empire. The whole story is quite fascinating, but in the interest of keeping this video short, I'll be summarizing it. Comment if you would be interested in listening to me infodump without holding back. If you want it, I'd be more than happy to oblige. Montezuma had perhaps observed the Spanish had come with guns and cannons and crossbows and knew that his forces would be a poor match. So he attempted strategic diplomacy and appeasement and invited the invading conquistadors into the capital city of Tenochtitlan to negotiate. However, relations would quickly sour. There were skirmishes between the arriving Spanish reinforcements and the natives, following which there were the accusations of betrayal on all sides. Eventually, Cortés took Montezuma prisoner. Plunder and chaos ensued in Tenochtitlan, and in an effort to quell the masses, Cortés had Montezuma address the crowds from the palace roof, to which he was met with hurled stones and spears from his own people. Montezuma died 3 days later of his wounds, although some claim that Cortés had him strangled. Anyway, more Spanish reinforcements arrived and smallpox spread throughout the susceptible native population, assuring the fall of the Aztec Empire in a few short months. Montezuma died, and there is no written documentation of any edict of vengeance. So how did Montezuma get his revenge? Well, Montezuma's revenge is a colloquial term used to describe travelers' diarrhea, particularly when it occurs in individuals visiting Mexico or other foreign countries. The term is not a medical diagnosis, but rather a playful way of describing the discomfort and digestive issues that travelers may encounter in regions with different hygiene standards. It highlights the common occurrence of digestive problems for tourists who are not accustomed to the local conditions, including variations in water sanitation and food preparation. One of my closest friends recently visited Kolkata and indulged heavily in the delicious cuisine, especially the street food. One particular Calcutta roll really had her stomach rolling and churning, and she was afflicted with Montezuma's revenge halfway across the world from where the Aztecs called home. Quite lovely and intersectional of Montezuma to take revenge on behalf of former colonies everywhere, but if you're in India, then this reprise of the runs is called Delhi Belly. This phrase entered the English vocabulary around 1942, and Delhi was simply chosen because it rhymed with belly, so Delhi Belly. Delhi Belly is also the name of a movie, which, by the way, is pretty funny. It has an IMDb rating of 7.5, and generally anything above a 7 is pretty good. I watched it. I liked it. I think you should watch it too. So I got the idea of this video when my friend texted me her predicament and asked for some advice. And I'd also like to share a few tips to minimize the risk of Montezuma's revenge. Number 1. Stay informed. Research about the food and water safety of your travel destination, and be aware of any local health advisories. Number 2. Drink safe water. Consume only purified water and avoid tap water. And if you're particularly paranoid, you should drink only bottled water. Number 3. Safe food practices. By that I mean eat thoroughly cooked food. Just avoid raw or undercooked seafood, meat, and eggs. Number 4. Hygiene. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water, especially before eating. Use hand sanitizers if soap and water are not available. Number 5. Be cautious with street food. While street food can be tempting, exercise caution and choose your vendors wisely. Number 6. Be careful with dairy. Consume only pasteurized products, and I'd say you should avoid unpasteurized milk and milk products anywhere in the world. Number 7. Vaccination and medication. You could consult with a healthcare professional about vaccination against specific diseases in specific destinations, and you could also consider taking probiotics before and during your trip to support your gut. But I would advise against self-medicating with antibiotics unless your doctor tells you to take it. Do not use antibiotics of your own volition. ever. By following these precautions, you can significantly reduce the risk of experiencing traveler's diarrhea during your trip. If symptoms do occur, seek medical advice promptly and make sure you are hydrated until you make it to a medical facility. For this purpose, you can take oral rehydration solution or ORS, which will replenish lost fluids and electrolytes. You can get a Tetra Pak or a sachet of the powder and mix it with a liter of water. In case you are American and are having difficulties understanding the metric system, that's a quarter of a gallon. You can also use whatever quantity that is specified in that particular sachet. I'd recommend you drink as much as you can, and if you have explosive bowel movements in either direction, you should take multiple sips after each episode. In case you cannot get your hands on ORS but have access to clean water, salt, and sugar, there is a simple solution. Mix 8 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt in a liter of water. You get a solution with a similar concentration, and it gets the job done. And if you continue to face symptoms for a prolonged duration, say more than a week or 2, you should definitely visit your doctor, because you may have developed a sequelae of traveler's diarrhea, which is post-infectious irritable bowel syndrome. I like to call it Montezuma's Revenge, la segunda parte, and I think it comes to select gastrointestinal tracts only. No need to worry though, the overall prognosis is good, but you will be put on a special diet to deal with the IBS. Speaking of special diets, hi! If you've stuck around this far, here's some nerd fodder. I love the flavor and texture of an avocado when it's just perfectly ripe. I don't know if it's just me, but the window period always seems very, very slim to have an avocado that is just ripe. I usually know it's good to cut into when the avocado gets a little soft and wrinkly. You know, kind of like balls. And avocados are Aztec balls. You see, the Aztecs noticed the avocado shape and decided that it resembled nothing so much as a big green bollock. So they called it an aguacatl, their word for testicle. And when the Spanish arrived, they misheard this slightly and called it aguacate. And the English changed this slightly to avocado. Well, I guess that explains the nutty undertones associated with its creamy, buttery flavor.